to Alleghany Memories. I am Suzanne Irwin, and on behalf of the Alleghany Historical Genealogical Society, it is my pleasure to welcome you to these episodes of interviews with older folks in our area. Each episode is an oral history archive featuring personal remembrances about life during the Great Depression, the wars, and other life-defining events that will be of interest to you and to learn what sculptured the lives of those who participate in these interviews. And during these interviews, we will encounter the ideas, the goals, and the faith that defined a way of life which is our common heritage. There are no scripts. The people who share these remembrances can choose their interviewer and be comfortable in telling their stories in their own words. And the interview can also be conducted in a place of their choosing, perhaps in the comfortable presence in their own home. On behalf of the Alleghany Historical Genealogical Society, we encourage your participation, and if you know of relatives or friends who have special remembrances, we welcome you to contact us and join us in this enriching project.
Thanks, Suzanne. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Halsey, and I'm with the Alleghany Historical Genealogical Society. And this is another in our series of programs where we're interviewing older folks from Alleghany County. Today we're talking to Walter Bell. Walter is a veteran, and he's had a very colorful past, and he's a very interesting fella. So, Walter, you were just now, before we started, you were talking about taking night photography in Germany when you were over there.
I did.
And you were shooting long exposures, and what kind of film were you using?
Argus something, a German camera. And I had a little C4, a good camera. That little C4, one of the cheapest around, or used to.
Well, now you tell us a little bit about growing up in Alleghany.
I grew up in rural Alleghany, about 4 miles out of Sparta, called Wolf Branch. I think it's called Pine Swamp now.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised there, went to school there. That schoolhouse it was a 2-room school. It's gone now. A hand-dug well. That may still be there because it was hand-dug, at least as big as a wash tub, and filled in with rocks around the pipe.
At the school?
At the school.
Now, how far away were you from school growing up?
Oh, 4 or 5 miles.
You walked that every day?
Walked every day, snow or not. And my daddy wrapped our shoes in snow. It's better than overshoes to help keep your feet warm.
How did he do? He wrapped snow around your feet?
He had time on. He raised up that way. He was good at it.
And it acted like an insulator?
Very good. No burlap sack. Cut it in pieces. And I was a high school dropout, never proud of that, in the 9th grade. And joined the Army. Let me get these dates.
Okay.
Date of birth, 1/16/20. Joined the Army, 8/2/39. I've been here about a year and a half. 2 daughters, 2 children. That's the youngest one.
Judy's here with us.
Sue lives in Utah.
Now, have you ever gone out there to Utah to see her?
I was there when I retired. I was working with the cluster bomb. Judy had it. Where is it, Judy? It's a round thing. Yeah. This is a cluster bomb. And the ridge is there, the fuse is inside, and it whirls. It was very effective in Vietnam and since too. And a B-29 had about 20 boxes the size of that hamper. And it would be released, get a safe distance from the bomber, and then these would come out just like raindrops about. The only thing, we tried to straighten it out and couldn't. Two of them bumped together in midair and it would detonate them both. They have small shrapnel in it, smaller the better. The more bones it will break, better stuff. We had chickens out there. I forgot what they were called, Humane Society or something. They tried to move in on what we were doing to see about the feathers and the chickens. And they just put a gate and a guard there, kept them out. No problem. But this, I understand, is used today. Now, this was in March of
1966.
Yeah. I retired 31 March 66. We were doing our work on the salt flats in Utah. And we had a barrack there. And they had a process of taking that salt water. Oh, where's my hat, my cap? Well, it'll probably pop up. Yeah, that's one of them. World War II. I haven't worn so long. Yeah, I'm a member of that too.
Marine League.
Marine League, Marine Corps League. Wonderful guy. John Irwin is, I think he's president of this.
Yeah, he's the commandant right now.
Commandant this year. They've been up here a time or two.
Well, now, when you retired in Utah from the Air Force, but you were also, what was your job in the Air Force? What did you do?
Mostly in the ordnance field, specifically EOD. There's a book there, Judy.
What's EOD?
No, explosive ordnance disposal.
Okay.
It's a, no, I don't think that's there. Oh, that's a book of the ones I was in the Philippines. American Ex-Prisoner of War Membership, 1999. Me, you can read what it says there. John McCain's in that book too. I voted for John McCain. He was a POW. I was a POW.
So you're listed in here also? And
Yes.
Page 9.
I think I
Walter
have
Bell.
the page number
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And 388. Now this is before you were in the Air Force. You're in the just the Army.
I was in the Army Chemical Corps.
Well, let's go back to talking about growing up.
Talking about what?
Growing up, when you were a young man, you all did a lot of farming. I've heard that you're a really good gardener.
My daddy was too poor to begin with to buy anything but a milk cow. And later on, he passed on about 200 acres of land and beef cattle. I don't know how many, several. And we raised sheep too. I just happen to like mutton, but I don't care for deer. Growing up was tough. In the summertime, you hoed corn barefooted. There wasn't enough money to buy shoes. Excuse me.
Y'all had corn, you raised your own food there on the farm?
Yeah. Cabbage, you pull them up, turn them head down and bury them that way, and it keeps them from freezing. And kill a lamb once in a while, and had our own hay. We never bought any hay. We had extra, but Daddy wouldn't sell any.
Did you, when you were farming, did you have a tractor, or did y'all have horses pulling the plow?
Well, that was later on when we had the tractor. Plow, team of horses. And well-cultivated ground, red clover will get about as tall as the horse's back. And stable manure went on. And you knew when to use lime. Lime is not a fertilizer, it's a soil conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
To adjust the pH.
How did you measure pH then? Did you have strips or something?
A county agent. The county agent.
So if it got too acidy, you could put lime out?
Right. You could get 3 samples here, here, and here. And the county agent would do that for you. It's kind of hard to come up with all this stuff, fellas.
Well, what made you join the Army? Was it the war when it broke out?
No, I joined before the war. I joined in 2 August.
That's right, I'm sorry.
39.
39. Did you join because of patriotic? Because you knew Germany and the war going on?
Probably that. I'm still an American.
Yes, sir.
Always will be. And my first assignment was the Philippines, 4th Chemical Company. About 30 members in this chemical company. Our basic weapon was a 4.2 mortar. I don't know if they still have that. They probably do. It's a good weapon. It'll lob over. And
well, what did you think when you got to the Philippines? It's a different world over there.
Different world, vines and different world. Oh, dalagas, Filipino ladies. Dalagas they're called. Maganda dalagas, a young lady. Alika dito, Maganda dalaga.
And what does that mean?
Come here, young lady. And you motion like that. Licadito, Maganda dalaga. You do that. You don't whistle. Alicadito, Maganda dalaga. They're beautiful. They break early. They break probably in their 30s.
Well,
I don't know what, probably some kind of fever caused scars.
well.
And a lady would be carrying around the baby in her arms to keep him quiet. He'd poke his finger. She'd poke her finger up there. And I've seen them, to keep the ashes from falling on the baby, put the ash in her mouth. Not even take it out. And they're wonderful people, the Filipinos. And we had it good. Oh,
Were you always in one place there, or were you?
to a point. I was stationed at Fort William McKinley near Manila. And
Well, what was your job there then?
drill with mortars. It had a base plate, 2 men on the base plate, 2 men carry the barrel, so and go through parades with it too. And we had a mule named Kit, and Kit had been through so many parades, she could take a recruit through the parade. And they had different kind of fruit was plentiful. Papaya, mango, bananas, the best bananas I've had then and since. A little banana, not much bigger than your thumb. 2 bites and that was it.
Well, that sounds pretty exotic for a country boy from Sparta. And
Yes, it sure was. And we wore khakis, stand out there in ranks for parade, and you could feel the sweat rolling down, but you still stood there. Us, with the mortars, our sidearm, we'll call it, was a 45 pistol. It was a revolver with the butt sticking forward. And of course, when the Japanese come in, we made it 2.5 till April, December to April, and the Japanese just overrun us. Corregidor, I was on Corregidor too, an island itself. It had a tunnel, Malenta tunnel that ran all the way through. Had tracks and a vehicle could drive through and turn around and come back. And in the tunnel was laterals where equipment of all sorts was stored. And in the tropics at that time, you only drilled or worked till noon. Off in the afternoon, we had a bowling alley. The theater was 25 cents. We had it pretty good till the Japanese moved in.
well, what did you were there then when Pearl Harbor happened?
Yes.
How did y'all hear about that?
Next morning, me and a sergeant were trained in the field, trained in Filipino Army. And they sent a runner out there to tell us to come in, and that's what it was. And the Japanese are highly trained, highly disciplined, highly this, highly that. And some of our guards were Korean, some of their guards. They had a wooden rifle, bayonet on it. Koreans, I think, are still a problem. But in '47, Army Air Corps went to U.S. Air Force. That's when I changed to Air Force. And from then on, my career was munitions of some sort. And
were you in the Air Corps and the Army
No.
before it switched? That's when you made your
no, I was
switch?
in the fourth Chemical Company.
So when you went into the Air Corps, what?
No, I was not.
I mean, in the Air Force.
I changed from Army to Air Force.
I see. what was your job starting out in the Air Force? And was that a big change, a big changeover?
Pretty much. I was munitions. And then went to Indian Head, Maryland for explosive ordnance disposal. There's a book on that, Judy. It wouldn't be, it might, no, I don't see it. She hadn't got it out here. We're called blaster masters, blast masters. Oh yeah. Yeah, this, and the hell box timer, that's a blasting machine.
Where were you at then, when you went into the Air Force? Where were you stationed?
Keesler Air Force Base, Biloxi, Mississippi. And there for Denver, Laurie Air Force. I was about 15 different places in the United States and about 15 years overseas. England, France, which I didn't care for. England, a fair assignment, and they had 2-tier buses upstairs you could smoke. Strange, but that the EOD Master Blasters, that's what we were called. EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal. And we were trained in Taboon, that was the name of it, developed by the Germans. A nerve gas. And I understand that Iran has their hands on that. Iran may be a problem coming up. I personally think, about half of my 3.5 years as a POW, about half of it was in the Philippines, different camps there, and half of it in Japan. And B-29's one, he'd come up so high and fast, aeronautically, it just wasn't reasonable for their fighters to reach it. It'd be gone by the time they got there. And B-Nijiku Skokie. And they'd come in threes, 3 here, 3 here, just tearing that place apart.
When you were a prisoner of war?
Yes.
Did that make you feel good whenever you knew that your planes were coming over? I mean, how did that?
Oh, I feel good about it. If they get me, so what?
But you were moved around in the Philippines and
several different camps. I don't know how many.
Now your folks, they didn't even know you were a prisoner at first, right? And it was
Judy can answer that. She don't. Oh, she's motioning. She's out of it. No, either. I think the message that came from the Department of the Defense, Department of Defense, captured or killed for about 1.5 years. And by then, they did let us ride home and get letters from home.
Wow.
And about once a year, we'd get Red Cross packages. They'd have this and that, including cigarettes, which is a bad take. I don't smoke now. And the Japanese, though, they were very strict about that. They didn't get into it. And sometimes a box, twice this size, if there wasn't enough to go around, 1 for 3. Sometimes a box for 1, always a can of Spam and Clem powdered milk. Then a few other things too. And two of the big bombs were finally dropped on Japan. One was called the Little Boy, and the other the Fat Man, two different ways of detonation. The Fat Man had a neutron generator inside, about the size of a tennis ball. A squeeze, your 5,000 pounds of explosive. It imploded instead of exploding. Squeeze that generator, and the Little Boy had rings and a projectile, and they were caused the projectile to move into the rings and cause what's called a super crit, and each one of them blew a town up. I forgot the names of the towns now.
Well, how were you liberated?
Oh, pretty soon after it was over, they started dropping supplies from a low-flying Air Force plane. And we were there about 30 days, and the Japanese have a good train system. We'd ride the trains. No, we didn't have any money. Just get on and ride. Somehow get back to our camp. Let me see here. Let me go over a few things. My birthday, you have that, I think. Mm-hmm. Joined the Army 2 August 39. Retired 31 March 66. Been here about a year and a half. A Japanese POW 3.5 years. I don't like to talk about that. We'll leave that out.
Okay.
The best book I know is called Soldier of Bataan. I forgot his name. I knew him. He was with me in the Philippines. He was with tanks. But that's the best book I know. Some of them beat around the bush.
What did you do when you retired in '66? You came home?
I came home, and along the line somewhere, I don't know when, I used my GI Bill to go to college. My first job was at the Lincoln birthplace in Kentucky. Abraham Lincoln birthplace, Hodgenville, Kentucky. And we had already bought a home at Sparta. It was too far away. I came home a time or two. Oh, Judy went to school in Germany when we were there.
What college did you go to?
Wilkes Community College. I have an associate degree. And
so it was too far to go all the way to Kentucky. What did you do after that?
Went to Greensboro, North Carolina, teaching ROTC, junior ROTC in high school. And I'll tell you this, it was, I won't speak of it in any way but favorable. 85 faculty, 3 of us white, no problem. 1,500 students, all white, no problem. And I did not retire from teaching. I went home, and my dad and I raised cattle and sheep.
Now, I've heard you're a pretty good gardener.
Well, yes. I wanted food to be the best. Organic gardener, yes, I was a pretty fair gardener, I suppose. I studied it.
Did you compost and all that?
All of that. Garden soil, instead of getting poor, worn out, it should get richer all the time from compost, stable manure, whatever. And when your corn is finished, use your tiller and make a furrow, and put that in the furrow, put some lime on it, cover it back up. It makes fertilizer.
Where did you live when you came back home then?
My folks had moved from Wolf Branch to Sparta. No, it was just outside Sparta. And we bought a home in Sparta. Couple of miles from where my parents lived.
Was it a big adjustment coming from the military for so many years and then coming home?
Well, yes, it was. Just a different way of life.
What kind of changes did you see when you came back to the mountains?
I can't explain it, buddy. It's hard to explain. I'm just an old mountain man, and I developed an organic garden. You do that by using compost, lime, bone meal, blood meal, and to keep worms out of corn, go down between the rows with a squirt can, squirting mineral oil in each silk. Keeps worms out. All that you pick up along the way.
When did you get married?
It was in '46. We were not schoolmates. I just a wonderful. That's Ma right there. Her name was Goodman, Nell Goodman, Nell or Nellie. And
your girls were born in Germany, or?
No, one of them was born in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, I believe, and the other one was Sparta. I don't remember exactly about that. And by then, I was at Langley Air Force Base. I'd changed over to Air Force, and BOWs were given their base of choice. And I stayed at Langley about 2 years and was sent to Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas, which was training. And I trained in, the munitions field. Classroom, I had very little of that. And you go to school, they have good schools.
Well, when was you were involved with the search for the bomb off the coast of South Carolina? The search for the bomb off the coast of South Carolina. When was that?
Well,
when you were searching for the atomic bomb.
Florence, South Carolina, and one of our B-47, they were on maneuvers, and a B-47 and a fighter plane crashed, and he dropped it. It was a Mark 6, a 40 kiloton weapon, and they've gone to megatons. That's the hydrogen. It was not atomically armed. The high explosive went off. And it went off near a house, blew the roof off and the side of the roof off. So that was the South Carolina deal. And another bomb was released, which was searched for and never did find it. It hit, this was at Hunter Air Force Base in Georgia. It hit in the water. We never did find it, but we thought that a Russian submarine got it. Maybe.
I guess there's no way to ever find out something like that.
Well, there's some guesswork, that was it.
Now, what is this piece here from? Is this from the
Boy,
this shrapnel here, a piece of the bomb?
oh, plus, oh, that is, oh, yeah.
Oops.
That is from, I was a chief master sergeant then, it's on it. This is aluminum. 92 detonators. 92 detonators was to cause the explosives to be inward instead of outward. But that, it was not armed. It had 5,000 pounds of explosive B, I think it was called. So that's the South Carolina deal. That is a genuine Purple Heart.
You want to hold that up beside of you?
That is a Purple Heart. You know what you get that for.
Yes, sir.
We won't go into detail on that. This is a German hat. Again, you hunt in green.
When you were hunting in Germany, that it
Oh,
was
I done
all
quite a
very,
bit of it.
very structured. You were in the club, and
This is my Rod and Gun Club card. I was a life member of I was chairman of the fishing department. And, oh yeah, now we can get into that a little. Judy made this up. Dachshunds, we had dachshunds. And I told Judy one day they didn't bark. She said, no, not when you're there. But when I was gone, she said they barked all the time. This is in one of our fishing tournaments measured. Oh,
now are these from Germany here?
in Germany. This was in Germany. Good fishing.
What did you fish for in Germany?
They had rainbow and brown trout. This is in the Rod and Gun Club. Let me see if I can find anything. Oh, this is stocking fish. We had a 5-gallon can like that, trash can, and up and down the stream, try to pour out about 5 fish so they wouldn't all be in one spot. We sold 5 permits a day, I think. Didn't overdo it. Oh, rod and gun. I don't know all this stuff without having some time. Game and fish. This is all rod and gun type stuff.
How was it different hunting in Germany compared to hunting in the Blue Ridge?
Altogether different. Somebody would be in charge. Excuse me. And they'd put you on the spot. You could shoot from here to here, not back. But in back of you, they would be beaters. They'd be beating bushes with a stick and a holler and run the game by you. They had a little deer called a raybuck and bobcats. I was lowered down to get a bobcat once. He come out in my range. Nick Suzanne. Don't shoot the bobcats over there. They're scarce. Yeah, thank you. And in school, you go to a gun type school. Don't mix gunpowder and liquor. And the first thing the Germans want to know, we call them Fritz. They want to know, have you got any whiskey? And they had a car, Opel Capitan, a deluxe type car. And Mercedes, they'd take them right into the woods. And the woods didn't have shrubbery like our woods. It was planted. That's one thing that Hitler had done, was plant forestation. Yeah, forestation, I think they called it. And Judy went to school in Germany. Her sister was baptized in Germany.
Did you like it in Germany?
I like Germany. Probably two of my favorite places was Germany and Laurie Air Force Base in Denver. At Denver, I worked on the range all the time, showing, while training trainees about explosives and how to properly handle them. Dynamite is not a military explosive. It's too sensitive to freezing and thawing. TNT or C3, a plastic explosive, or C4, a later development. And we could make shape charges and shoot through, you can, experienced enough, shoot through explosive with explosive. And we had three categories of unexploded ordnance. One, you would risk your life to either remove it or safe it, disarm it. Another category, some of this ordnance has disturbance fuse in it. Without moving it, put a line on it, get behind a barricade and disturb it remotely and wait 30 minutes to see if it would explode. We all went to the same school, Army, Navy, Marines, at Indian Head, Maryland. I forgot, it seemed like that school was 5 months. It was a long school. Identify this, identify that.
Did you do much disarming like that?
Well, that's what we did.
Where did you go around to actually do it? Ex-battlefields, mines, that sort of thing?
Ranges, bombing ranges, anywhere where maybe a fighter plane had crashed. Oh my, I don't know what this.
Let me take some of this here.
Let me have that. Can you back up just a little bit, Mr. Bell? Roll backwards just a little bit.
Oh, this Run Gun Club, we went over that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Run Club in Germany. And
Now that's in a trench.
Oh, yeah.
oh, that's where they was digging up a bomb that had it had been released but did not detonate for some reason, faulty fuse. And they were digging it up, and we had what we call cribbing. Timber, you cribbed, keep from caving in on it when you go past 6 feet. There they're digging up one. And beryllium copper is our probes, so it won't cause a problem. That's what they're doing there. I was with the 74 10th EOD Squadron at Wiesbaden, Germany. This was at I believe this was in France, where they dug it up.
Now they would identify unexploded ordnance somewhere, and then you all would just travel to wherever it was and work on it. Did you do a lot of traveling then all over Europe to do that?
I did not. We had detachments all over Europe.
I see.
This is one of the bombs that's the one they dug up. And a good measure is use a pack of cigarettes or some well-known. This is a 20 millimeter fuse that we destroyed them in a burning pit. Here, 2 rings, that means TNT, color code, and 3 green bands is what I mentioned before about nerve gas. It was developed by the Germans, rough stuff.
So you guys knew as much about the German ordnance as the American?
Yeah, well, we were trained in, my career field, we're trained in any of it. Some of this without study. Oh, that's where a plane had crashed in with 20 millimeter on it. Gather that up, and there's several fuses. One is, if it's black, it's a training ground, nothing in it. And if it's a yellow band, it'd be white phosphorus. Oh, that's where we were blowing something, detonating something. My career field. This is 20 millimeter. Oh, this was all used in Vietnam. They didn't have safeties in it like we do. Here, this is me, Haddon, and another, I don't know his name. No, this is me. We were in Hunter Air Force Base at the time, and they had some outdated dynamite. What we're doing, this is burlap sack. It neutralizes the dynamite. Some of them I just don't recognize without having. This is in what we call the bunker. If you're going to detonate something, you're in the bunker with your blasting machine in the bunker, a safe distance. Oh, here they use a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes. It's a good way of measuring the size of something. I don't recognize this offhand. These are foreign, this is all foreign stuff here. This is called a 4 pound something. It was developed by the Germans. But that's it again. We can handle any of it. What does that say?
Danger explosives.
Okay. Oh, Tullahoma, Tennessee. This was training Rangers during the war. And they left some mines, and we went up and cleared those mines. And here's what we did to those mines: put plastic explosive on them. That, and Primacord, you probably heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
We primed it on each end to be sure of detonation. And there, me and my associate at that time were watching it at a safe distance. This is just a different assortment of ordnance. This guy here, Rawson was his name, that's me, holding some sort of ordnance. We're going to destroy it. Rawson had a drinking habit, and he finally wound up, he was a tech sergeant, he got busted down quite a bit. And here, we've got 3 shells, and we've got them with the primary ends together and plastic explosive there to detonate them. These I don't know what they are offhand. We were pretty much on taking pictures of things as evidence. All of this was in Vietnam. Oh, this was a World War I cannonball located in somewhere around it, Savannah. That's when I was magistrate.
That was after you came back home, you were magistrate here?
Yes. An interesting job. You do weddings, deal with drunks, and try cases where the amount is $1,500 or less. And with drunks, his attitude had to do with what I done with him on bond. Magistrates have that authority and power over any of them, or a judge.
Well, how long were you a magistrate?
I retired from the state on it, the state of North Carolina, the county, several years. What do you got, Judy?
5 years? Judy says 5.
But the military is interesting. It's what you make of it. Make it or break it, so to speak. And I think I mentioned that the best book I know of about the Philippines, Soldier of Bataan. Bataan was a peninsula. Bataan Peninsula. And we, I mean the American fighting force, were backed up to the peninsula, water on one side and Japanese on the other. General King took a white flag and went to the Japanese authority to surrender. And from there on, well, we won't go into detail on that. I don't want to. So,
Well, we sure appreciate you and your years of service, and we appreciate you joining us.
I do hope that you have enjoyed these episodes and that you will continue to watch these wonderful interviews of folks that you might know. And so again, watch and learn.